Hello, credit union friends. Welcome to this episode of Three Questions. I'm Greg Michlig, President and CEO at CUInsight.com, and it's great to be joined by Deedee Myers, CEO of DDJ Myers. Deedee, thanks for
Hey,
being here.
Greg, always love to work with you and so appreciate the long-term partnership with CUInsight over the years. So happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Very good. We appreciate that partnership as well. And we've got three questions queued up for you. And I know our audience is eager to hear your valuable insights. So here we go. As you look at the past few years, what trends are you seeing in the competencies organizations value most? And how is that shaping opportunities for talent development, especially for entry level, high potential employees?
Well, that's a big question. So the trends always come out of what's going on in the industry and the environment and what shapes it. So we looked at pre-COVID, Greg, and during COVID and post-COVID, what's happening there. But I like to contextualize leadership into four categories. The first category we always look at is, what is our level of intelligence coming into the job that we're born with and we've been nurtured over the years. So that comes in, and then the environment actually can help leverage the intelligence. So the second one is we look at what are the soft skills, the leadership skills that the person brings. And then also we look at the subject matter expertise. Then the last one, Greg, is that leadership presence. So, how does that person really compel others to follow them? So what we're seeing across the industry is very exciting is that I'll start with boards here and CEOs. Boards are asking that their CEO candidates actually be more generalists these days. In the past, like during the Great Recession, we saw a lot of financial people, CFOs get jobs. Now we're looking for more generalists, those that have led multiple operations or functions across the organization and have an enterprise-wide understanding and can advocate for the member across the organization. Also seeing that CEOs are wanting to have more upward coaching. How does a CEO partner with the board? So what does that mean for us to develop and talent develop, especially the entry level and high potential employees? I think we're shaping our recruitment strategies differently now, Greg, where some of our clients are looking at how do they recruit, what's a recruitment strategy for that first line manager, starting to do some more testing and looking at their literacy and their adaptive problem solving and their numeracy. And out of all that, the adaptive problem solving is the most important. So get them in the door, but really super important, Greg, that we are able to develop them and mentor them and coach them. Don't just let them flounder after the first couple of days of onboarding. So always encouraging our organizations to have what we call, a coach or a buddy to buddy up with these new people at the entry level positions, whether they're first line managers or interns. But the challenge, really, the crisis that we see is that mid level, where we really want to help shape that strategic thinking and help those organization mid level talent people be advocates and champions of change. That's where we're getting stuck. And the challenge is during COVID and even after COVID, we're seeing a lot of our executives at the C suite level, Greg, are actually still more task oriented. They're task oriented versus strategically oriented. Yet it's their responsibility to level up and coach the mid levels. So we're seeing that bit of a gap between the mid levels who want to go and want to be taught and want to be developed. And a lot of our executives are still focused on the day to day of the organization versus that strategic thinking. Now, some are reaching out and getting that training and that development, but a lot of opportunity for more there. Long answer. You can dive in there anywhere you want.
Yeah, that's really interesting, just the different competencies and kind of the COVID versus post-COVID. And I guess a question would be then, how do the internal candidates compare to external hires when it comes to the evolving competencies? And what challenges do leaders face when trying to build talent from within versus bringing it in from the outside?
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. So, what we looked at is a couple categories. One is what do boards want in candidates, and then what do the internal candidates bring, and what do the external candidates bring? So, What we looked at is first, I'll give you what the three, four, five that boards are looking for. They're looking for futuristic thinking, somebody that can look into the future, imagine the future, come back to today and lead us forward. Futuristic thinking. Leadership is number two. They're looking for creativity and innovation. And after that, Greg, there's the interpersonal skills, teamwork, problem solving, and guess what? Resiliency, because it is a tough job. So what happens there is that we're seeing the external candidates really are front forward in several of those. So they score higher. For example, I'll give you a couple data points. We looked at 3,217 people that we assessed. We pulled out 178 candidates, Greg, that went to the final interviews over the last few years. Final interviews mean that you're one of two or three that make it to the boardroom for the final interviews. So, what we're seeing on a scoring mechanism of 0 to 100 is that internal candidates score an 81 out of 100 and external score a 90. And then on decision making, they're about even. And then diplomacy, we're seeing an internals a little lower than externals. And then creativity and innovation, internals lower than externals. So why is that? So we have the opportunity to look at a lot of resumes. And in the past, Greg, boards really wanted candidates who were stable, stayed at the same organization for a long time and built a track record. Now, what we're seeing is the external candidates who have experience, material experience across enterprises in two or three organizations. Greg, they're bringing that wealth of experience of looking at different cultures, different strategies. So they're more informed when they come into the interview. So that's what I'm seeing and what I'm surmising from what we're looking at. So, really exciting opportunity for the internal candidates to start their development earlier, ask their CEOs for that experience across the enterprise. But we're also seeing, Greg, really exciting news is that more and more organizations are starting the internal development of potential CEO candidates 2, 3, 4 years in the future versus just 6 months. And those candidates who have that opportunity where the board is strategically pushing that, they're excelling and they're chosen for that job over an external candidate. So a lot of change and it's all going in the right direction.
Yeah, there is a lot of change there, TD, and kind of shifting gears to another level. So, at the leadership and board level, what shifts are you noticing in
Yeah.
expertise and governance expectations, and how are those changes influencing talent strategy across the organization?
Oh, that's been a big lift for us this year, Greg, as a lot of boards are stepping up in a big way, and it's so exciting. If I could just say that governance, two simple buckets. I know there's more, but two simple buckets. One is that policy and the framework that's written down and the guidelines. The other is how does the board actually govern? How do they interact with each other? How do they make decisions? What's their pace and cadence? That's where they want to lift. We're also seeing 30 to 40% of our boards are going to turn over quite a bit in the next 3 or 4 years, right? You see at least 50% of CEO jobs are going to turn. For every CEO that leaves, within a year or two, there's two or three executives that leave. Either the new CEO brings in their talent or there's a lot of retirements. So, what's going on? It's very exciting. The new CEOs are strongly advocating being very compelling with the boards that they need to level up. The
Mhm.
boards need to level up. So they're pushing, advocating, nudging, negotiating, all of that, the board members to get development plans and get developed. So we did a lot of data there as well. And what we're seeing that boards are asking to have brought onto their board, the new board members, when we do a recruitment for board members, Greg, AI is up at the top, digital and technology, of course, stablecoin, all of that in that genre. But really, what they're asking for too, which is awesome, is that strategic and critical thinking and then executive level experience from a P&L perspective. Yes, they still want you involved with the community. They want you to be able to relate to the community, but they feel, especially the credit unions that are maybe a billion and above, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 billion, that, Greg, they can't compromise anymore because the change is so fast. So they're asking for these kind of skill sets in their new board members and the existing board members to have very focused development plans. A lot I can talk about there. It's very exciting, but I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Yeah, there is so much going on. And when you listed AI and stablecoin and just the whole environment from a technological standpoint, but then thinking about making sure there's that strategic insight that's
Mhm.
there and the diversity and the leadership capabilities. Always learn a lot, even in a short period of time talking with you, Deedee. And as always, it's been a pleasure to connect with you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to join me.
Oh, you're wonderful. I love working with you. Thanks, Greg. It's been 25 years since we worked together.
It's yes, it has been. It's well, thank you very much. And I want to thank everyone who tuned in for this three questions video interview. We'll see you next time.